Hey y'all, it's been a minute since I've been on here. I have had to do a lot of reflecting over the last 6 weeks or so. And I just wanted to say that one thing that I see a lot of is the confusion about twin flames and what they really are. For me, twin flames is about the divine feminine and masculine within you becoming balanced within and your connection to source energy. And when you balance these two and connect with source energy and you bring that down into your physical body, it is not about this other person. This other person is your mirror. They're your catalyst. They are part of your journey. But if you're holding on to the idea that you are going to be in any kind of 3D construct of a relationship with this person, you are fooling yourself. It is a connection that you are developing with source energy, with pure source energy within you. Of course, this connection with this person is magical, unlike anything you've ever experienced. You will have so many things happen that will show you that this person is in your life to help you elevate your spirituality and bring you back home to source connection. This journey really doesn't have a destination. It's really a lifelong journey. And I met my twin flame in 1988 and we were 13 and we were in love, and we couldn't date because my parents didn't like him. We had to break up. I would sneak out the window and whatnot. We didn't even live in the same town. It was kind of a crazy way we met in the first place. And so, but that was in 1988, and in 1991, 3 years later, I was a senior, right before my senior year in high school. He went off to college, and then I got pregnant my senior year and had my first child, and got married and became a mom. And for 20 years almost, I just was in that unhappy marriage, raising my children. But in 2007, I had a very, very deep depression hit me. I could not function. I was literally so depressed. I didn't know what was happening in my world. And that was my first time that I actually got put on antidepressants and all kinds of medications to treat my depression, when really I was going through a massive spiritual transformation when that took place. Stay tuned for part 2. Hey y'all, so part 2 of the rest of my story. So in 2008, after being on many antidepressants, I was on a lot of medications. They kept changing medications, trying this, trying that. I went to therapy. Nothing was helping me. I was actually getting worse at the time. And so in 2008, I had laid down to take a nap because a lot of the medications I was on was just making me a zombie. I couldn't function. And so in 2008, I laid down to take a nap, and I had this massive out-of-body experience. I call it my flying, floating experience. So what it was, now that I know, it was like a prophetic vision of what was to come in my life. I was on this conveyor belt in which, like an Acme machine, and things come down and it strips everything away from you, and it was extremely painful, and there was like this darkness all around me underneath, and all of a sudden someone grabbed my hand and I was on an airplane, and it was like quiet and peaceful. But there was this other man on the plane, and I kept looking at him, and the guy that was with me told me, don't look at him, don't look at him. But I kept looking at him. Every time I did that, I would look at him, and we would be right back on the conveyor belt in this painful process that we were going through. That was like a metaphor of what was to come, which was everything being stripped away from me that I know. That was what that part of my vision was showing me. Then all of a sudden, we were at the bottom of an escalator. Me and this person, we were at the bottom of an escalator, and there were many sets of people. And I started to go up this escalator with this person. And as we got off at the top, he told me, this is as far as I go, and he handed me a gift. And all of these people were getting off the escalator with their person, and their person was leaving, and there was a beautiful lady in white waiting at a second escalator to take each individual up this next escalator that was there. So as we get to the top of the escalator, the lady says to me, "We're going to take you back, but first someone needs an apology." And there was a long wall that looked like there was windows, and I'm like, immediately like, who needs an apology from me? So I immediately go to look out this window, as everyone else is doing that as well. And as I look out the window, I see a reflection of myself, and I start to cry because it's showing me that I need to forgive myself. Then we were all directed to get on what appeared to be this roller coaster seats, 2x2 seats, in which we were told to hold on, and the ride started to go backwards really fast. Stay tuned for part 3. Hey y'all, part 3. Okay, so when we got on the ride and started going backwards really fast, the seats began to lay down. And as the seats began to lay down, I began to float up. And as I floated up, I felt this all-encompassing energy around me that was just so pure and loving and warm and white, very, very white and bright. And I just felt weightless, and I just felt whole and complete. And just as I was like embracing all of that, I began to fall. It felt like I was falling through layers, and it was getting heavier and heavier as I fell. And as I fell, I could hear "everyone deserves another chance" over and over again. And then all of a sudden, I sat up from my dead sleep and was gasping for air, crying just so bad, was crying so bad I couldn't breathe. I ran to the kitchen, grabbed a notebook, a crayon, and started to write down everything that had just happened to me. I thought I had died right then and saw God, because I was a religious person, and I believed that I had died in my sleep taking a nap, and that I had gone to heaven and came back. And that's not exactly what that was all about. I believe that experience that I just told y'all about was showing me what was to come, the twin flame experience that was to come in my life, which when you meet your twin flame, you will be stripped of everything, and it is very painful, and you have to let go of the past. You have to forgive yourself. You have to learn how to be balanced, and you have to learn how to connect to that source energy and bring that down, which is that representing of the falling that I experienced, which was the higher dimensions of Christ consciousness, and bringing Christ consciousness down into this physical form here now. It was also representing the process of ascension, the part where the man told me that this is as far as I go, and then I got on the second escalator. I do believe that is representative of the twin flame journey, where the separation occurs, where the two twins have to separate in order to connect to source, and you have to break that connection with that person and heal and connect with source and bring that back into your body, so that that person can do the same, and then you two connect. Part 4 of my story. So after that experience that I had, my life in 2008, my life started to really fall apart. My health was bad. I was in and out of the hospital. I was on probably 10 different medications. My marriage was no longer even viable. We were just roommates, and my oldest daughter had gone off to college, and at this point I had 2 boys that were in high school, and I was really just ready to be happy on my own. I had been raising kids since I was 18, and I just needed to find myself, and I was ready to let go of all of that. Now mind you, I had not spoke or seen my twin flame since 1991, and this is 2008, and I'm just living my life and very unhappy life at that. Not due to really external circumstances, even though I was very wounded and I didn't even know what a wound was. And everything I did, I blamed everybody. All of my problems was everybody else's fault. You know, I had lots of wounds to heal, and that's part of the twin flame journey, is healing all those wounds that we carry within us from childhood. So in 2012, I received a Facebook message from this guy. He said, "Hey, I haven't seen him or talked to him since 1991. And it was intense. It was so powerful. It like hit me in the heart. It did the same for him, just speaking through messages. And we were like, we need to talk. And so we met, and we literally just met and sat in his car for about 30 minutes and talked. And the connection felt very blocked, very weird. Like we couldn't wait to be around each other. But when we got around each other after all them years, it was very awkward, very strange. I was a mom. He didn't have children. He was in a marriage that was ending himself, and nothing physical happened between us. But when he told his wife that he had spoke to me, she just was so angry and so upset and couldn't believe that he didn't cheat on her, which he had not, because that wasn't what was happening. He literally like disappeared out of my life again for 3 more years. And during that time frame, my marriage has pretty much ended, and I was getting ready to move on with my life. And I was a few months from making those plans to move out on my own in 2015, when he popped up one more time and said, "Hey, sorry I disappeared 3 years ago, but you wouldn't believe what's been happening in my life. We need to talk." If you're still following me, watch for part 5. There's more. Okay, so part 5 on my story, which is in 2015, he reached out again after 3 years of disappearing. He reached out and said, "You won't believe what's been happening in my life." He had spent the last 3 years like MIA, off of social media, trying to make his marriage work one last time, because he had been married for about 15 years as well, never had children. But he had spent 3 years trying to make that work, and it was just done. She was just done with him, and couldn't get over believing that he had cheated on her with me, which wasn't the case. And so that marriage was over, and so he wanted to see me again. And so we planned a day at this park around here, and we spent the entire day together, and we connected so amazing. And within 5 days of that meeting, we literally I left my home, my security. He left his home and his security, and we took the seats out of my van, put a blow-up mattress in the back, and within 5 days of him coming back in my life, we were living in a van for the next 3 months together, and living on our love. Literally, just our love was providing us everything we needed. But what that first 3 months in the van together, living together, we started to have the first few little things start to surface, those triggers, which I didn't know what wounds were. I didn't know what triggers were. I didn't know what a twin flame was. I just knew that I was happier than I ever had been in my entire life with this person, living in a van, not knowing where I was going to be the next day. I mean, I was living my best life in a minivan, in the back of a minivan with this person, and I thought I had lost my mind, but I knew that I hadn't, because I knew that the love between us was just so pure and so real. But as these triggers started to happen between us, that's when that bubble phase, a lot of people talk about the bubble phase of twin flames. That's when that bubble starts to pop, and then you've got this cesspool of toxic behaviors, belief patterns, all kinds of things just start getting pushed up to the surface. And on top of that, I had a massive Kundalini awakening. I did not know what chakras were. I did not know what Kundalini was. I didn't know what any of this stuff was. And I didn't have social media like I see a lot of people have now to guide me. I literally was the blind leading the blind. So that's just a little insight of the beginning, part 6 of my story. So after living in the van, and we lived a couple of places, we tried to find a place, and we ended up in an apartment, and I loved it. We were there for a couple of years, and I was trying to create this 3D life with this person while I was simultaneously going through a dark night of the soul, which I didn't even know what that was either, but I was having supernatural experiences happen to me all the time. White feathers showing up inside my apartment on bookshelves underneath pictures of he and I. We went out to eat for his birthday, and a man approached us and told us that strange things were happening, and he mentioned the name of our city, and he asked me, we're in Mississippi, right? He said, the end of the world's coming, you hear? He's like, they call me the man with 3 faces. And it was a very, very strange interaction. This is at a drink machine at a Zaxby's with a man that approached us, talking about things, talking about being 2,000 years old. It was just very surreal. Those are the kind of things that were happening all the time, that you could not deny that something otherworldly was happening to he and I in this journey that we were on together. We got married because it was the 3D thing to do, and so it's like, hey, let's get married. So we got married within the first year and a half. We got married in November of 2016. So yeah, we've had a lot of experiences together that we didn't have any outside guidance about. Like, literally, I see a lot of people struggling with this concept of twin flames, and is he my twin flame, and is he not my twin flame? I didn't have anybody to ask those questions to, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because really those answers only can come from within you. You will know that you are being guided divinely on this journey, because this is a journey, not a destination, not a 3D romantic relationship, not, hey, let's set up house and let's do this and let's do that. No, you are here for a mission, and in order for you to be on mission, you have to understand that you are awakening the feminine and the masculine that lives within you, and this other person is doing the same. And it's a beautiful dance. It's a beautiful nightmare. But it is a journey. And so that's just a little bit about my story. And I'm trying to understand where to take my channel as far as what I want to teach and talk about. So just hang in there with me. I got lots more to share with y'all. Bye.